Hi besties, I always feel so awkward like talking to the camera in the bookstore, so we're gonna do a little bit of a voiceover. We came with the intention of getting some new releases. April is a crazy month with so many freaking good books that are coming out. So priorities to purchase were The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings, Fearless by Lauren Roberts, Enchantra by Kaylee Smith, and Boys with Sharp Teeth by Jenny Howell. Did we look at other books along the way? Yes. Did we say hi to some of our absolute favorites? As you do, you have to give them little tippy tappies with your nails. I was so confused because I'd never heard of this book, Lady Nightmare by Rachel Yolde, I think is her last name. The bookstore had like 20 to 30 copies of this book, and then I had to go look it up on Goodreads, and it sounds really good. I didn't end up purchasing it, but it seems very intriguing. I'd also never heard of, I think the title is Green Teeth. My hand is blocking most of the title, so sorry about that, but it's like a cozy fantasy. The cover really spoke to me. It's so beautiful. Can I just say I'm so happy that Barnes & Noble is coming out with more books and like paperback editions that have sprayed edges. I feel like when I first joined the book community, I was always so curious how people were getting their hands on these beautiful, gorgeous editions, and it was the book box subscriptions that had these beautiful books, but they're so like exclusive and you have to join a waiting list and all of these things, whereas now Barnes & Noble is making it a little bit more accessible to have like really, really pretty books, whether it's a hardcover or a paperback, and so I just love walking around the bookstore and looking at all of the pretty edges. They're so good. Besties, welcome to an ultimate book video. We went book shopping. I have a little bit of a book haul, and then we are going to be doing a little reading vlog of one of the books that we hauled on our shopping trip. Today is April 8th, and if that means anything to you, you know that there were some big book releases that just came out today that I'm so excited for. Definitely most anticipated reads. We have, for our haul, 3 books. Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. I think this is going to be the one we start with because it's like 400 pages, and I think we could fly through this really quickly because Phantasma was the first book in this series, and oh my goodness gracious, it read so quickly. It was so good. I'm so excited. This one follows the sister who we met briefly in the first book. It has a similar setup to the first one. The first one we followed Guinevere's sister, and she was competing in this competition called Phantasma, which took place in like a haunted house in New Orleans, which was so vibey. It was New Orleans, right? I think so. Yes. This one, we follow Guinevere. She receives an invitation to Enchantra, which is a cursed palace in Italy, frozen in time. Though denied entrance by the sinfully handsome yet hostile Rowan Silver, Guinevere finds her own way in and soon realizes her mistake, for Enchantra is a twisted labyrinth where Rowan and his 6 siblings are trapped in a deadly game at the mercy of a twisted devil and his ghastly spectators. Only one occupant of the house can survive. Guinevere must win or die. Then we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts. I did want to start with this one in this vlog, but she's a bit chunky, even though it's like a YA, and oh my gosh, Lauren Roberts books read so freaking quickly, but I read the first line of Fearless in Enchantra, and Enchantra pulled me in a little bit more. How many times can I say Enchantra? Anyways, it's starting to like not sound like a word anymore. Fearless by Lauren Roberts. This is the third book in the third and final book in the Powerless trilogy. We've had some mixed feelings about the Powerless trilogy, but the second book really hit for me. And so I'm really hoping that this third book hits for me too. The last one we picked up is Boys with Sharp Teeth by Jenny Howell. This is a YA, dark academic setting, very toxic characters. It's like a very cutthroat preparatory school, and our main character, 17-year-old Marin James, has spent her entire life in the shadow of the exclusive Huntsworth Academy. Her cousin's body is found dead on campus, and she knows who to blame, so I think she's trying to prove her story. She knows exactly who to blame: Adrian Hargraves and Henry Wu, the enigmatic, dangerously alluring leaders of the school's elite. She goes to seek justice, but her quest is quickly muddied by a confusing attraction to her new life and two dysfunctional and depraved boys who somehow understand her better than anyone ever has. I love twisty, confused teens in a dark academic setting. Like, please. So these are the three books that we picked up that are very difficult to hold with one hand, but there they are. And we are going to start with Enchantra. I am doing reading sprints with the patrons for a very long time today. We are just going to be sprinting because the goal is to read absolutely as much of this as possible. So we just started our first sprint. We were kind of getting settled. I did get changed into comfy clothes because we have to look cute for the bookstore. You know what I mean? We need to look cute, make a good first impression when we're picking up these books. And now it's comfy cozy time. I'm making some lunch because it's 11:30 and all I've had is coffee today. We have our water completely filled up. We have a vibey ambient room going, and it's going to be a fun time. So let's get into her. In this first chapter, crows are an omen, and we're walking around the city of Rome. And these crows are following her and getting more abundant and cawing at her and pecking at her window in her hotel. Tell me that isn't the scariest thing ever. Imagine if you just had a murder of crows, like 50 crows just following you around, cawing at you and pecking at your stuff, and they like fly at her to try to like guide her to go in a certain direction. I would cry. I would live underground. I would never come out ever again. That sounds so scary. Besties, I desperately need to get a bookmark for this book, but we are now just over the 25% mark. I did take a walking sprint and I was reading this on my Kindle because this is on Kindle Unlimited, which is incredible because I think Phantasma was also on Kindle Unlimited. Oh my gosh, I'm so obsessed with this. There's forced proximity. There is like fake dating / fake marriage. We're obviously in a deadly competition. I'm super interested in our love interest. His name is Rowan. I mean, his full name is Rowington, which is just so freaking funny. And Ellington and Wellington and all of his siblings are so funny. They have the craziest names. Like, why? Kaylee Smith put some giggles in this book, I swear. I think he's really intriguing. I love his family. I just think it's crazy that in this world, why do devils and demons like love to be locked in a mansion playing this deadly game set in hell essentially forever and ever, amen? Like, why is that such a thing? I'm really curious with the next book in this series, like, how is it going to be different? You know what I mean? I'm super curious to actually get into the competition. We're at like the night before, so things are going to start to move even faster than they already are. Like, this just, it's like a popcorn read. You could literally read this in one sitting like I'm trying to do today. It's not overly complex. The rules get explained to you very clearly right in the beginning. and then it's just off to the races from there. But yeah, I'm curious to see as this series continues how each of the games is going to be different, because not gonna lie, this does feel quite similar to Phantasma. So as we get into it, hopefully we get some uniqueness and some differences, you know what I mean? Besides just like different characters, essentially same storyline, same setup, I guess is the better way to put it. We're still on reading sprints because we are just going and going. We've been reading for 3.5 hours. I have an Amazon package that I need to pick up. And then also, remember how we went to Barnes literally 3.5 hours ago? They called me and told me, I asked for them to put, when they received their editions of Conditions of the Will, I asked for them to like save one for me with my name on it, and they were going to call me. Guess who called me during the last sprint when I was walking on my walking pad? Yes, you're correct. Am I going to go back to Barnes 3.5 hours after I was just there to pick up this book? Maybe. Everyone on Sprint says that I should. Besties, we have some books to haul together. One of these was expected. I just have no idea what it is. We have a Fairy Loot unboxing, and then we got a present. We got like a really beautiful present. So we're going to open this up together as well. Okay, let's open our little present. This is from Andrew Lee Stark. Thank you so much, Andrew. Okay, hardcover. Oh my gosh, this is the most anticipated that just came out. House of Blight by Maxim M. Martineau. This is supposed to be a gothic fantasy romance that sounds so stunning. Adira Brilwin is a thread mender. She holds a rare life-saving power that can cure disease and heal injuries in the blink of an eye, but magic always comes with a cost, and saving anyone sacrifices a sliver of her own life. She's always kept her abilities hidden until the powerful Fernglove family discovers her secret. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to read this. Thank you so much. And then let's unbox Fairy Loot. I think that this is the March book. I just have to grab scissors. I just saw this when I was at Barnes earlier today. It's Firebird by Juliet Cross. I read The Wraith King, I believe, is by Juliet Cross. And I liked that one. Oh my gosh, this is going to be beautiful because even Barnes & Noble had like a gorgeous edition of this. Oh, I don't even know what this is about, to be so honest. Ooh, the naked book is very pretty. It's like a painting, almost. The tail. Oh my gosh, I love the sprayed edges with the dragon tail. Stop. Anything with dragons, I'm here for. And then the back, the foiling's really pretty too. The character art on the inside cover is giving really YA. So I have to double check if this is YA or not. I don't know how I feel about that man. I don't know who that man is, but I don't know how I feel about him. But her braid is really cute. This is the actual cover that I saw in the store, and it was really, I mean, that's a gorgeous cover as well. I like people on the covers. I know that might be a controversial opinion, but I do. I like the character art because then I have a really clear picture of like who the main character is right from the very beginning, and I don't have to go spoil myself looking it up. You know what I mean? Let's see what this is about. A conqueror captivated a witch prophesies to save them all. There's a Roman general. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense for the setting and what he's wearing and their sandals. From the moment Roman general Julianus laid eyes on Melina, he was enthralled by the Dacian dancer. Years later, the fierce beauty stands before him on a sacred battlefield, her life in danger. He instinctively shifts into his dragon form to save her, an action that may result in his head on the imperial gate. But he and his dragon know one thing: she belongs to them. Okay, he falls first, love at first sight. That makes me a little nervous because love at first sight doesn't always work for me, but we shall see. Okay, now I have to get back to reading. One thing that I really love in books, I really loved it in the Caraval series and Once Upon a Broken Heart series, is when, not just exclusively those books, but I know off the top of my head those books have these types of things in them, when there's like letters or like this is an invitation to this deadly competition for the spectators of like, this is what it is, all bets must be placed before midnight after the first like masquerade ball, all wagers start at 1,000 soul coins. Like, I just think it's really cool to have a little bit of mixed media. And then there's also been like letters and stuff in here. I just think it adds such a fun touch. And then I also really like how it's all broken up. So there was like the first night that she was there, then there's the night of the spring equinox. Like, I don't know, my brain enjoys it. We have officially started the masquerade ball before the competition starts. This is hitting so many boxes for me. Like, give me a masquerade ball where everyone is wearing a mask and it's all secretive. The competitors like met each other. They know each other at this point. Most of them are siblings. Really, it's just Genevieve who's like meeting everybody. But this is the night where they get to interact with the spectators, because the spectators for this competition, there are basically these portal mirrors all around the house where when the hunt is in full effect, that's how they will be watching, is through the mirrors, which is so creepy. The other bit of news is that we went back to Barnes & Noble in one of the sprints and we picked up her because she deserved it. You know what I mean? This cover is so beautiful. I thoroughly enjoy this. I love that it's like painted. I think it's super cool. I think the back of the book has me scared, but I love it. I think that this is really, really beautiful. I'm not usually a fan of deckled edges. That's like the one thing I'm like, I'm not the biggest fan, but I'm debating if I want to annotate this when we finally get to it. There are so many books in April that I'm like dying to get to. I really hope that this is the month I can read like 20 books. That would just be incredible. We have moved to the bedroom and I'm starting to read again. We're on page 200. We're still finding out who this person is, but it sounds like Jen was in a toxic relationship. She's like very scarred and she doesn't want to open her heart up to like new people. And the person, who we don't really know too much about, his name is Pharaoh. But we know that she won't drink whiskey because of him. So Rowan is asking about Pharaoh. They're playing like Two Truths and a Lie. They're trapped together for one of these games, like the first night of the games, and they have to spend like extended periods of time just hiding and like sitting in silence. So they're playing Two Truths and a Lie. And in response to him like asking who Pharaoh is, she says, yeah, well, some people are poisonous that way. They touch you once and somehow infect every little thing you do thereafter. And then she doesn't say this out loud, but it says, hell, she'd nearly lost all her friends because of that bastard. She'd nearly lost her spirit, her sense of self. Thankfully, she'd found spite along the way. Girl, it's hitting a little bit too close to home about toxic relationships. You know what I mean? Hopefully you don't know what I mean. But it's hitting. Hello, besties. We are now 70% of the way through Enchantra. I have not voraciously read a book like this in a very long time, and I am living. We are back in our binge reader era. I'm going to knock on wood, because we're not jinxing ourselves, but this has been so much freaking fun. We're now at round 3 of the hunt. I really enjoy the dynamic between Genevieve and Rowan. I like how they support each other. And there's been a lot of tension in this one. I feel like Phantasma was more spice sprinkled throughout the whole thing. And the trials in Phantasma they had more of a spicy flavor to them. Whereas this one, our characters have had much more time to emotionally connect with each other, but then they also keep saying like no emotions, no strings attached, and it's becoming like so much harder for Genevieve. I think it's becoming hard for Rowan too, but he's like not talking about it like literally at all. So that's just been really funny because these two are so freaking emotionally connected. All they do is like play two truths and a lie and like get to know each other, and their banter is really good. My one complaint is that I think that these trials are boring. They basically like chase each other around the house the whole time, like trying to kill each other, and they have this like one knife that will like the hunter of the night has to like kill the others. I'm waiting for the variety and the challenges. And so I'm hoping that, or like the trials, I'm hoping that round 3 of the hunt is going to be different, because I loved Phantasma so much because each of the trials was so creative and so fun. And even though they were like locked in this New Orleans mansion, the devil is like transporting them to different places or like transforming the ballroom into something completely different. Whereas this one, it's basically hide and seek, and the seeker is trying to kill you. So I've been a little disappointed in that regard. I'm hoping that we start to switch it up a bit more. So the plan is to finish this today. This is going to be the focus. We're going to get reading. I don't know what it is about me reading at the gym, but every time I go on the treadmill to walk at the gym, I get to the spiciest scene in whatever book I'm reading. So that's a curse. I got to the first like really, really spicy scene where they did the deed, and it was so good. I love Kaylee Smith's romances because her spice is perfection. I also really love her MMCs that she writes in general. At this point, I'm just dying to finish the book and see where this goes, because I'm still so flabbergasted that there is going to be more books in the series. And I want to see how she's setting that up. We are on page 328. Oh, I thought this book was 400 pages. It's 443. So we have a little bit over 100 pages left, like 120 pages. Operation Finish Enchantra. I forgot to mention, one of my favorite characters in this book is Umbra. Each of the like Wraith children, which is like Rowan and his siblings, have a familiar, and they're all different animals. I freaking love it. I am here for an animal familiar. I love them so much. They're always my favorite characters. Umbra is so freaking cute. It's a little fox. And she's adorable. She's like a black fox, and she like lives in the shadows because Rowan is a shadow wraith. Also, his shadows in this book, 10 out of freaking 10. The spicy scenes with the shadows, 10 out of freaking 10. They're so good. We just learned a very juicy bit of information. Genevieve was asking, like, where does Umbra go when she doesn't see her? Because usually she's like trailing around them and like hanging out with them, but there's sometimes that she's just not in our vision. So Genevieve says, where does she go, by the way, when she isn't around? She's always around in the shadows. You just don't see her. I don't like to keep her on a string like some of the others, if that's what you mean. Familiars are part of their host's soul. We can recall them within us whenever you'd like. That's interesting because of Umbra's behavior, like throughout this book. I'm not going to say more than that. That was like a big hint drop. We have finished Enchantra. I finished her last night. I'm giving this 4 4 stars. I loved this book. I really liked this book. I loved the characters. I love how fast it was. I love the spice in this one. I love Rowan. I liked the tie-in at the end back to Ophelia and what's his name? Salem. Loved that so much. I think I understand the setup for like the next book in the series, which is incredible. I'm really hoping that we follow Seven. I think that that was the setup, and he's going to be like infiltrating this mysterious, like kind of culty secret society that like has vampires in it, and he also always sucks on like blood lollipops and stuff. I think that's the summary for book 3, but let me know what you think. If you've read this book, if you've loved this book, please let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your predictions for the 3rd book in the series. My only like criticism of this book is that the trials were a little bit boring. They were basically all like deadly hide and seek, but I wasn't super focused on the trials per se because I was so gagged by the characters and their interactions with each other and the spicy scenes and all of that fun stuff. So Kaylee Smith, you did the damn thing. If you've made it this far, leave a little skull emoji in the comments down below if you'd like to let me know that you were here. I will catch you in my next one very soon. Toodles.